Welcome to episode 111 of the Off and Beat podcast. I am your host, Clint Nelson. Before you continue to listen or watch this podcast, probably listen because no one watches. Watch this way. Like, subscribe, leave a review, comment, follow, notification bell, whatever the fuck you're on. And most importantly, suck some titties. Now, recording this on 3:30 a.m. exactly, Monday. It's literally 5 hours after the Super Bowl ended. So, yeah, just getting home, enjoyed the day off. My biggest takeaway from the Super Bowl tonight, which, by the way, pretty decent game overall, not gonna lie to you, was there was this one small, I wouldn't even call it commercial. It was like an ad while they were doing an introduction to get back into the show. It was like right before halftime. It had to be like the last couple minutes of the first half. And there was this little thing, I believe it was by T-Mobile. Of course, it's fucking T-Mobile. They had this ad like, hey, the halftime show is coming up. It's like, no shit. Everyone that watches Super Bowl knows the halftime show. But whatever. It said, hey, go on your phone, log into this thing on a whim, by the way. Like, hey, I know we didn't give no heads up, but log into this T-Mobile or whatever the fuck shit and watch the halftime show on there so you can get the quote-unquote 360-degree experience. Before I get into my issue with it, I just want to let these companies know no one gives a fuck about these 360-degree experiences where it's basically you can move the camera around to see up Eminem's ass at the halftime show or watch Mary J. Blige kind of make it a 1-2 step. But one, it gets confusing. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos that have that weird thing to it. It's one of those things that's a cooler idea than it actually ends up being. It's kind of like, ooh, look, I can understand musically for concerts kind of, but it's I don't want to see the back of, Chad Kroeger's ass while he's playing I'm So High. Nah, I just prefer just put the high definition $80,000 cameras that you guys pay. If I just trust that than having some guy walk around with his boom mic and his fucking handheld straight live concert type of camera crew, it's a live comedy special. You know what? I'll just take the traditional view of the halftime show. How about that? All these alternate broadcasts, all these alternate things that want to enhance the experience. Cool. But back to the main issue of it. So you're right. Let me just completely stop on this 50-inch TV I'm watching on high definition. This 50-inch TV that is literally made for the Super Bowl. They made these TVs for sports, for football, for the halftime show. And you're like, sorry about my voice, but drank a little too much Sprite. Luckily, I didn't mix any lean with it because I'm rocking it. Oh, Jesus. But yeah. Let me stop from the 50-inch high definition, heavily pixeled, precise, pristine coloring of a TV show, of this TV. Yeah, and let me go to my 6-inch fucking Android phone. And I know you're saying, well, you get an iPhone. I'm sorry. Let me enhance it to 7.5 inches. Yeah, let me reduce from 50 inches of enjoying this musical ensemble cast that had 7 artists, which, by the way, 50 Cent was not mentioned in any of it. Pretty cool, though. Whoa, go shawty. It's your birthday. So stop watching it on this when you can watch it on your phone. It's your birthday. Which is kind of weird how, by the way, it's Valentine's Day. Just swept that under the rug. And yeah, so let me reduce my visual experience approximately 44 inches, 42 and a half if you have an iPhone. And yeah, that will enhance my experience because I use my fucking index finger and go around the fucking stage and watch random people dance. It's like, you know what? I just want to focus on Dr. Dre. Straight up. Like when Dr. Dre, when his back was turned to the camera while Eminem was performing, doing his thing. Like, yeah. Like, I don't care for the camera to go on the other side and, ooh, let me see what Dr. Dre's face looks like when he's just playing this piano and rocking his head. It's like, no, I'm cool. But hey, other than that, great Super Bowl. This is just the definition of we are doing too much. We have too many options. We've gotten so bored that we're like, hey, let's outthink the room and be so cool about it. And fuck that 40 to 50 to some of the like mega projector screens at some of these Super Bowl parties I'm sure you have. And let's all just watch on our fucking phone. Just because we can move the camera around the different angles. Good job, guys. Good job. But yeah. Oh, by the way, another takeaway randomly from a commercial was Guy Fieri. I don't know why. When I was watching that commercial, which was not a really good commercial, because honestly, I don't understand the fascination with hard seltzers. I think I've kind of had one. I had one of those Bud Light black cherry ones back in the day. It was like, all right, this is kind of just lame. It just basically tastes like carbonated with an alcohol kickback when it swallows down. I never understood. I'm not into like hard seltzers. Like, I don't get it. It just feels like if you drink too much of it, you're just going to throw up, make you feel obnoxious. And it's like, oh, not much alcohol content and just getting bloated. Doesn't sound like a great time. But the commercial, when I saw Guy Fieri, it hit me. He looks like a combination of Sammy Hagar and like a Tahi, is it Tahi or a Taki? Like a Tahi bar owner, you know, like one of those little, if you go to like resorts or you go to like Cayman Islands, you go to these resort island shit, they'll have like those little Tahi bars where it's like, it's noon somewhere. It's like, yeah, but it's fucking 7 a.m. So it's not. But hey, you're on vacation. Hey, I'm on vacation. Might not go back home. Ain't no static on my reggae station. I'm here, I'm gone, I'm on vacation. Speaking of vacation, me and God took a Viagra in Ibiza. Where is Ibiza? Honestly, I have no clue. I just thought of that title for a podcast, trying to ramp up the VIEWS, hashtag Drake 2016. By the way, album actually has a good replay value. Better than the first initial listen, but neither here nor there. Me and God took a Viagra in Ibiza. I was thinking about this. Do you think that God, because God, I look, I'm not religious, so I guess I should actually really make sure I clarify that. I'm not religious because I'm about to come off as like very ignorant on a lot of these things. But I'm assuming that God is supposed to really just be like a symbolism or really just like a representative of a flawed man, but who has been through life. He's lived the eternal life and he's made all those mistakes or not mistakes. And he's learned, has all this wisdom. Here to pass it on to you so you can repeat those things for eternal life and be an entity of God or a resemblance or a child of God, which is like, you can't be a child of someone forever. Well, I guess you can. You're technically always a child of your parents, but, you're not always going to be treated, quote unquote, as a child, right? I would think a God is someone who would be like, hey, man, like, I think you've progressed out of shitting your pants. You're 32 years old. Can you stop shitting your pants? I feel like even he has standards like, hey, I understand you're flawed, but can we like kind of get a little progression here? Can we move the needle? Can we take step by step? But, I was thinking, Does God or did God ever get erectile dysfunction? And, look, man, mostly when you get older, things change, the body changes, I'm not there yet, but, it'll probably be sooner than later. But does God get the old ED? And I don't mean electrical dynamico. I mean, does he get the old deflation of the balloon? I'm assuming God's got a piece. Like, you can't be a leader. I am not a leader of men, as Nickelback would say. But you can't be a leader of a whole society and civilization, I guess, of people, spiritually and all that stuff. You wrote literally the most sacred texts in the history of history. And you can't be walking around with a loose piece. You can't be walking around with a thing that's kind of like, yeah, I just don't have it today. Because that's not what you would teach to the youth. That's not what you would teach in your sermons. Like, hey, God understands you don't have it today. Like, nah, he'd be like, hey, you may not have it, but you can still give something. It's like, if you have ED, it's kind of hard to give a little something, But yeah. So I guess the whole point is, if me and God, there's those weird stories. I don't know if I've always believed this, where someone dies for like, they literally are announced dead for like 14 minutes, and somehow in that 14 minutes they met God and traveled through 3,000 years of life in a 14-minute period. Which I'm like, hey man, I understand the brain can do amazing things, but if you're brain dead, I'm gonna say it's probably not really firing all the pistons up there. And I don't know how much to believe. Like, I'm not religious, so I don't want to like clown on people who like say like, oh, I met God, and when I came back to life, they come back to life and they're this complete different person. I was like, well, they may be a complete different person because they just experienced death and how scary that can be. So yeah, it's going to change you as a person, religious or not religious, right? When people say like, God talked to me, like, imagine the fucking ego on you. To think that out of all the people that die for a brief period of time, 14 minutes, he talked to you and he's like, well, Jesus, we got to make sure we keep you around because you're really going to change the world. You're really going to make this world a better place. Does that mean every person that died that he decided to not bring back to life, he's like, yeah, you're more of a hindrance. I kind of regret making you. You're like worse than a stepchild. You're like the stepchild of an aunt that's like, shit, he has to come live with me because she's into drugs, pill popper, and she went with Mike Posner and took a pill in Ibiza. So now I'm fucking here with you, stressing me out, pulling my hair out, can't get it up, and that's why I have AD in Ibiza. So maybe, if that's me and that's how I am let go into the soil at 44 years old on this earth, maybe when me and God take, maybe, I don't know, maybe when I'm on a lovely trip with a lovely lady, I'll decide, you know what, fuck it. We're going all in tonight. I'm going to take like fucking, 4 Viagras. I'm assuming you're not supposed to take that. And I'm just going to say, fuck it. We're pumping it out tonight. Sorry for the graphicness, but hey, once you go there, you go there. And I would just assume that, hey, if you're going to do it, go all the way. I won't even say extreme person, but like in a lot of aspects, but I am one of those people where I'm either all in or all out. Like, I either don't do something, or if I'm going to do it that day or do it that night, I'm just going to fucking do it. I wouldn't say don't believe, but I don't, like, for example, when it comes to alcohol, I've never been a casual drinker. Like, I don't drink at all really anymore. I went, rub here, whatever. But even like in the most normal parts of my life, it's always been like, okay, I'm at a party. I know I'm going to get fucked up tonight. I'll deal with this shit in the morning, and that's cool. I've never been like, hey, let me just have a couple beers tonight. Hey, let me just have some wine. Hey, let me just have a little cabaret. No, I've always been like, hey, man, if we're going to fucking do this, let's fucking do this. And I'm not saying that's a healthy way of living. I really don't. Because you truly struggle with probably like balance issues with just kind of being able to enjoy life without it letting it consume or enjoy too much you. And it sucks the life out of you. And it dictates how you do your morning. And then, oh shit, I got to do this. And then you fall behind on things. You get behind schedule. You get motivated, blah, blah, blah. That's why alcohol can be very dangerous. But that's not the point here. I would probably be one of those dudes to be like, doctor would be like, hey, take one. And like, you know, I think commercials like 4 hours or whatever the fuck. And you don't take it any more than once a day. And after 4 hours, if you're still stiff, you know, don't be a stiff. Call the doc. But chances are, there's probably not a doc in Ibiza like that. So I'm probably going to pass out. Probably going to have a heart attack mid-fuck. And oh shit. And I was nowhere close to coming because, you know what? Typically with that stuff, it's probably going to fuck up your shit. And you're probably going to just like not even be able to. You're just going to pass out on the deck. And it's going to be like the movie Gerald's Game where the dude tried to take his wife on a retreat. And the love is not there. They've been together a long time. Takes her on like a cabin, their own little cabin. Next thing you know, like, he tried to do all this kinky shit. Put her, you know, have the handcuffs tied to the bed, but she's not really into it. Next thing you know, he's like, what the fuck do I have to do? Shit. That's Bruce Greenwood, the guy from Double Jeopardy, by the way. Pretty decent movie. And, by the way, very fit dude for his age. No homo. Except, not there's anything wrong with that. But, you know, it's like, hey, man, what the fuck do you want me to do? I took us to a resort cabin. I'm trying to recapture the lust, and she's just, what mine somewhere, it's not there. Next thing you know, as she's handcuffed and shit, he passes out on her chest, and he just passed out there. Now, remember, she's hooked up, so it's not like she call 911 or whatever. She's hooked to the thing, and she realized after, holy shit, this guy is dead. Well, not dead yet. So then pushes him off the bed because weighing down her, and she's like trying to get out of the cuffs, but it's like scraping her arms and shit. The next thing you know, there's this wolf that comes in later, eats him alive. Actually, well, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say it wasn't him he ate alive. He switched the body and shit. But yeah. Gerald's Game. Good times. But that's assuming what I think would have happened to me. I would pass out my lovely lady's chest. Hopefully she's not handcuffed because I need someone to call 911 for me. And I felt like I would see the quote-unquote light, where the light is, like John Mayer's 2008 live performance. One of the best live performances on DVDs ever put out, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I feel like I would probably pass out, and hey, if I see the light, if I see God, then if he brings me back to life, like evanescence, yeah, I will let him bring me back to life. But what if like someone's like, hey God, actually, I don't want to do this. Actually, could you not take me back? And God's like, well, you know, hey, that's what you want. Wonder if that's ever happened. And that minute period is like, hey. Or is it because when you see the light, not to get too zen here, if I'm going to try to give the benefit of doubt, maybe what brings people back to life, it depends how you react and how much you respect what you're feeling, and if you are feeling something to be worthy of bringing back to life. So meaning in that 12, 14 minute exchange, let's just say, where you're quote unquote announced dead, but you're in your mind and your soul and body, you're experiencing all this shit, and you're like, holy fuck, this makes me feel something. Maybe if I'm brought back to life, if I'm just given one opportunity, one shot. Damn, I realized I was accidentally quoting like an Eminem song. I guess I'm losing myself in this terrible rant. But, hey. And maybe, just maybe, hypothetically, maybe it's how you react when the light is flashing in your eyes and how you deal with it. And God sees that and he's like, I knew you had it in you. It just took desperation. You made a bad decision taking 4 Viagras. And hey, your heart's pumping. When you come back to life, you're going to have a punctured lung. You can't feel the left side of your body for 3 months. You're going to go through intensive rehab. But hey, life will be better than ever before. It's like, kind of giving me a rough start. But hey, put myself in this situation because of desperation. Just wanted to give her a good time. But sometimes, that whole thing, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I don't know. If you live a decent life, being around for a long time can be a really good time. Like, look at these old, like, Sammy Hagar. The guy I mentioned earlier looks like Guy Fieri mixed with a Thai bar owner. Like, Sammy Hagar is like 70 years old, and the dude is just out here living life. He's a great example of, hey, you can live for a really good time and a long time, because he definitely lives a life. But you can definitely tell he also has, like, balanced approach type of shit, It's his career's not everything, but he enjoys it. Drinking and stuff, like, it's fun, but he can stop at any time, but he just likes doing it. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe with those stories, not to get too cheesy here, but maybe those stories were here. I was dead for 28 minutes and I saw God. God told me, the young and the restless will always be rest, but they appreciate the less. Next thing you know, boom. 8-year-old dies after getting hit with a bike. Or maybe there's just certain things you just can't come back. I'm like, sorry, if you get run over by a semi-truck, over and back like 5 times, hey, man, I don't care how much light you see. It's not happening. Like, your whole body is chopped up and smothered like a wolf ate you in the middle of Antarctica for, like, whatever the fuck. My analogies aren't great today, but you get the point. Like, there's no coming back, man. Like, your heart is literally out of your body, and it's not by a surgeon. The wolf literally ate your fucking heart and your kidneys and your ribs. Like, you can't even be resuscitated as a vegetable. Like, hey, man, it's done. But if there's opportunity to, like, heart attacks and shit where, it's more of an internal thing or whatever, like, yeah. I will be open to the argument that maybe, and being serious here, that maybe it's the light exposes what you have shedded for the longest. Ooh. I like when I create isms on the spot. Not bad. The light that you see is what you have shed for the longest. Bars. But yeah, I think maybe that's what it is. And maybe it's like when you see that, the thing you were missing that God feels like you need to bring back to this earth to not only be like a decent, viable member to give back to your community, give back to people, right? It's you will come back as a version of me that I feel like has been lost on this earth, or at least in an area that you'll be in, and that you will guide in positivity and prosperous and loving the neighbor, and you can spread the gospel. And maybe there's some selfish motives here, but hey, the good of it is what matters most. But what's not good? I am getting really fucking fed up, and I'm not even that mad about it. What I'm about to talk about, this is really a personal situation that the more and more I have to deal with this shit, the more and more I understand why renting can be just more annoying than anything, right? I love the ability. Oh, now that I've kicked my feet up, your boy's in it. Now that I'm really deep into the game, right? You start thinking like, man, I've just given a lot of money to people to make them rich, which is cool. It's what society's built on. Just eating on the youth and, us not thinking. We don't own anything. We're not responsible for anything. But when you think about it, you always try to vibe like, well, what if my apartment complex burns down? I'm not fucked. I'm not responsible. It's like, yeah, you know what? If your apartment complex burns down, I feel like the fact that you're not responsible and held accountable financially is probably the least of your problems. Because now you still lost all your shit. Like, there's still a lot of shit that sucks about it. And it's highly, highly unlikely to happen that your place burns the fuck down. I hate to break it to you. It's really highly, highly unlikely that your fridge just, tips over one day because there's some leakage from under, the floor cracked, and the fridge just falls through your freaking floor and it falls on a 9-year-old kid below you. Highly unlikely. But I'll tell you what you can expect. If you haven't rented these apartments, here's what you can expect. Inconveniences, and on top of that, shit that you will get charged for. And if you really look at your bill for shit you get charged for and you realize, a good portion of the shit, you guys don't even have operating at full functionality. If you live in a quote-unquote gated community, chances are your gate's not going to work 60% of the time and 60% of the time in a month, and that's being generous. I've gone literally 3 weeks at one time where they didn't have any gates working. It's like, hey man, come rob everyone. And you know what? I had a roommate get robbed because of it in his car. And there's this, so the gates simply don't work. Okay, fine, whatever. It's just a protection of all the shit I have, my car and everything. Cool, but whatever the fuck. It's not like you're charging me $100 a month in the thing when you break it down. Cool, not mad. You're charging me for a TV service we don't use because it's a pain in the ass. Cool, whatever, it's included. I've already talked about the smart lock shit, where the smart lock is, one, there's nothing smart about it. Anything that could be easily hacked, technology, or literally by a fucking phone app, if someone were to steal my phone. And when you don't even need the shit, you just punch the thing and it fucking opens. Out they've kind of fixed it, but it's not really fixed. Like, yeah, I could get in, but there's this annoying bullshit with it. But cool. And then the 2-day heads up of, hey, by the way, this will be for Tuesday, February 15th, which will probably be when this episode drops. Hey, just so you know, in between 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m., so let's do the math. That's what, a 6.5 hour, close to 7 hours, actually maybe 8:30 to 4 p.m. So essentially, let's just go in the middle. 7 fucking hours of, hey, none of your water is going to be working because we got to quote unquote fix a fire hydrant situation. Which is okay. One, that doesn't take 7 hours. Let's just slice through the bread. Slice through the Wonder Bread and, just cut the BS, right? It does not take 7 hours. You are either paying someone unnecessary 7 hours of labor, or you're really just trying to cover all asses for a lot of shit. But cool. But my thing is, you pick the times of day. Like, all right, you know what? Fuck me. I guess I won't wake up today when this episode comes out. I guess I won't wake up today and wet my toothbrush and brush my teeth, right? I guess I'm going to have to dry rub it. Cool. Oh, wait. I guess I won't, fill up my filtered water to make sure I drink clean water. Cool, fine. Oh, you know what? I guess I won't shower after a long 12-hour shift the night before, coming home straight to bed and waking up thinking, my body just needs a clean shower. Nah, fuck you. Oh, you know what? God forbid if I need to wash my hands because I actually get shit in it when I wipe my ass a little too deep. Fine, cool. No, fuck you. I can't even go to the neighbors and borrow. Not that I would. I can't even use their water. You know why? Because all of the water is not being used. What if I had someone dying of dehydration? Fuck you. Nah, it's cool though. It is just I always go to this, right? To the dumbasses that say, hey, water is not wet. You know what's really not wet? Not having any water. That's really not wet. It's always fun. And guess what? We're not going to get any reimbursement. Anytime there's an inconvenience of something with, it could be I remember there was a power outage one day for like 7 hours. All the food in the fridge smelt like shit and all that. We didn't get a reimbursement. No, fuck you. Oh, you can't use your washer and dryer. Oh, yeah, now I can't even use the washer. We don't have any water. Oh, fuck you. God forbid if I have, fucking dirty ass underwear from a long days of hard manual man labor. Nah, you know what? Fuck you. God forbid. Oh, well, you know what to say? Plan ahead. Well, you know what? I could plan ahead. And I'm fortunate enough that I can. But I'm speaking for the ones who can't. The ones where it gets lost in the email shuffle. I would have never noticed it if my brother didn't tell me, by the way. But on top of that, what about the ones that have kids that don't have time to be checking their emails for business purposes? Which is kind of weird because where was I at the other day? I was somewhere. Oh, I went to get I had a warranty on a tire. Tire was fucked up, disappointing, so I went to go get it replaced. Cool. Didn't have to pay a penny. Cool. I was waiting at the discount tire place. And of course, there's some lady in the corner. Has her laptop out, cool. There's no problem there. It's kind of weird, but cool. Doing business, waiting for a card on her laptop. And, they come out to you like 5 minutes before they pull your car out once your car is finished with. They're like, hey, this wasn't her name, but hey, Kelly with the green Subaru XRY hitch, blah, blah, blah. And yep, that's me. And they come over, they have a little layman, like, all right, yes, we had got this done. Just so you know, you have this tread in your tire. Not that anyone gives a fuck. But yeah, here's that. We'll have it right out. Any other questions you need? No, that should be great. And they're like, okay. She's like, yeah, I'm just doing some emails right now. So if you could. Typically, they just pull up to the front. You walk out because you're excited after waiting an hour, 15 minutes. Ready to get on about your day. But not this lady. She was so into her emails, which I don't know what fucking answering emails really means. Whenever I hear someone, I gotta answer emails. Oh, well, you would know if you're a business person. It's like, you know what? Actually, honestly, even if I had a full operating business, emails would not be my main source of communication. It seems like an outdated thing. I'm not sending, I get emails updates every 7 hours, hey, here's an email from 3 days ago from carparts.com because you ordered a part from us in 2019 and we still have your email on file. Oh, here's shop your way off this credit card you signed up to get 70% off a JCPenney purchase when you signed up for a credit card. You didn't really save 70% because we took a hit on your credit score and you used it one time and you accidentally didn't pay off a percentage, but it's cool. It's fine. Oh, all emails are made for is for places you go to so they can keep in touch with you. If I have individuals in my business, I'm not sending you a fucking email. I have your number. That's the most direct. But whatever. But yeah. So anyways, and she said, instead of having them pull up and then whatever, she literally made a request I've never heard when I've been to these places before. She said, hey, actually, can you just pull it into... She didn't just say a parking spot, right? Hey, can you go park my car in this parking spot? No. She has specific instructions, like she was paying for a valet service. And I don't even know if for valet you can pay if you ask them if you can really... I mean, not that they wouldn't do it, but I don't think you could just say, hey, make sure you park... What is it, reverse? Is it reverse, parallel? Well, no, parallel. Basically where you back up into a parking spot. I'm not very good with term names, but I know when I see it. She said, hey, can you actually pull my car back into that spot and basically make sure can you park it backwards so when I leave I can just easily get out? Because she was so into her emails that she couldn't just get in her car, drive 8 minutes home, or drive to a nearby coffee shop or someplace like most of society does to continue her work. Now she's like, you know what? Let me do it in this fucking waiting room that smells like a bunch of kimono tires. A bunch of overpriced tread lightly tires. Bitch, tread lightly. I'm not even mad about her. I'm just like, hey, if I was a dude, and the kid, you could tell the kid was kind of young. He was kind of new to it. Well, I wouldn't say that new, but you tell he was definitely not a veteran working there. He was just like, you can tell he's never gotten that request before. You know why he's never gotten that request? Because you should never get that request. Hey, can you park? She pointed to a specific spot. And she said, hey, can you back my car into there? Thank you. Now, she was polite. I'll give her that. She wasn't like a deceiving. She wasn't a condescending person by any means. But it's just the fact and the comfort. And I don't care what people say. That's not being a quote unquote boss. That's actually kind of like you're making someone do something that's a little out of the job description because you are quote unquote doing work. Like the rest of the people here that are paying for something. Not that I paid for anything, but I was ready to pay for something. But like everyone there doesn't do work. But no, we go there. We look around awkwardly. We may look down at our phone, put some earbuds in. I pretend to read some shit off my notebook to review something of mine. You're sitting there with your laptop, having a whole setup. Cool, get what you got to get done. No one's judging the fact that you have a laptop charged into an outlet. You picked a specific area. You consumed another chair to put your laptop case because you had a fancy, cool little laptop. You know what? I will say, that's the one thing I was jealous of. She had a competent laptop unlike mine, but hey, you know what? You do what you gotta do. But the fact that she got so comfortable there that she's like, hey, I'm actually just gonna stay here and do it. Like, Discount Tire is not a place where you quote unquote get your day job work done or your own aspirational goals done in the waiting room. That's not where shit gets done. Discount Tire is one of those places where you just sit in the fucking waiting room and you wait. You may read an awkward you may walk around, get a couple from the water fucking cool suck bottle shit where you have the little foam cup and it makes a gulping noise like it's like in an office move, like goo 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 goo. That big old fucking crystal spring shit, which is actually always decent water, gotta admit. And then you just sit there, and nowadays everyone just looks down their phone and does the awkward thing of pretending to be on their phone. Hey, how about this? How about you read your emails during your phone, and you'll probably realize 90% of these emails aren't that important, and you're probably wasting 3 hours of your day reading fucking emails. I'm not telling you what to do. All I'm saying is, this shit's not Discount Tire. There's a time and place. I'm sorry. I don't care. Call me old school. Call me I'm not that nuanced in context and shit. There's just weird things to do in different places. There's a time and place. Alright. You don't take a phone call on speaker when you're somewhere with a lot of people. Because one, it's going to be hard for you when you're in a quiet place. Like you don't go on speaker when you're, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a place, but like I could understand, like, okay, if you go to like a Moe's Southwest Grill and you're at the front and let's say your wife's on the phone, and I can understand it's a little complicated. This isn't specific, by the way. It's just kind of like I could understand it, like, oh shit, hey, I know you wanted chicken, but they're actually out of chicken. I don't know why they're out of chicken, but it's a pretty common ingredient you should never run out of at a Moe's Southwest fucking Grill. But hey, cool. I can understand, like, hey, it kind of put a whole dent in your thing. And maybe she doesn't eat meat, whatever, even though chicken is meat, but whatever, I guess. Pescatarian, I don't know the term, but basically let's say, oh, she can't have beef, steak, and all that shit. But they have these weird options like tofu. Like, hey, do you just want to, hey, honey, got here, they're out of chicken, Mo Monday. What the fuck, they're out of chicken? Yeah, they're out of chicken. Okay. I guess just have no meat in it and just put like this rice and this beans. You know what? I can understand speaker. Because you know what? Make the employees feel your disgust. Even if it's not their fault. Be like, hey, just so you know, this isn't right. I used to work at a McDonald's back in the heyday. And there was actually 2 instances where we ran out of meat. We ran out of like the quarter pound meat and the regular like skinny cheeseburger. I think 10-ounce meat. I don't fucking know the proper term. I think it's like a tenth of a pound for a patty. And yeah, it's a really weird thing to explain. It's not like, we ran out of lettuce. Even if you run out of cheese, honestly, that's probably a little bit more disgraceful. I'm not eating a burger without cheese. Personal preference. We're all out of personal preferences, right? I guess only some of us. But yeah, it's Discount Tire, and it's not the place to sit there and do your fucking private passion project. Excuse me. Jesus. Whatever the fuck you do, she probably sends like private vegan supplements and charges $90 for a powder container that probably costs $2 to make. You know what? Supply and demand. But yeah, good times. Good times. Good times, everybody. I just realized, by the way, I was thinking about this the other day. I was at work. And I was singing, and like for some reason, the Good Times theme song like came in my head, right? And I don't know lyric by lyric, but it's like, good times, everybody getting laid, everybody keeping your hands underwater. It's basically just keep treading above water. The Good Times theme song is basically just a little about getting by, community and family. Everybody's getting laid off. Good times. And when you're singing younger, like you're bopping to it, like, yeah. It's like, wait, yeah, everyone's getting laid off. Like, oh, it's a lot of real, like, quote unquote, real, like, you know, socioeconomic shit. Like, people getting laid off at that time stuff. You know, and when you get into certain, I'm trying to think. Like, when you get into certain, like, in Good Times, it's the demographic is, it's about a black family in the inner city, poor, getting by, especially at that time. Like, theme song is really representative of what a lot of, really, if you watch the show, a lot of, you know, there's still like some fucked up shit happening in the school system, the hidden racism and a lot of things, but it's about bringing the humor in that scene, but like having real life moments, right? I compare it to like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which, by the way, this whole Bel-Air thing, Will Smith won. Uncle Phil looks nothing like Uncle Phil. And I understand it's not supposed to be a direct thing, but we know what the fuck it is. And I was listening to the lyric. I'm like, oh, this shit, like, when you're younger, you just hear the happiness and like you just hear the upbeat stuff. And then when you get older, you realize like, oh, a lot of these upbeat like theme songs, these upbeat songs, the lyrics and what they're actually saying is really, it could be really real, and it could be very sad. It could be very depressing. It could really like, oh shit, man, this shit is dark, right? Like has a dark meaning and stuff. And you know, the Good Times specifically, you watch the show. You know, it was a sitcom. Like I wouldn't say like all the time, but enough. Like it came on TV, and you know, you really learn about, you know, TV is like an avenue where, honestly, as fucked up as it sounds, TV is where you learn a more real view. At least back when they used to make sitcoms where they actually like dabbled into real life shit, where it actually discussed real life shit, and they put in form of a sitcom and humor to kind of bring it where it can be a medium, a main of stream to all, like not just network television, but mid-network television, replay value, syndication and shit. And the Good Times specifically, like that one was was one of my shows I enjoyed watching growing up. And I enjoyed the show because, you know, like at the end, there would always be the round of applause at the end. And there would always be, because there would be like an ending message or something of basically, the theme of it would always be, no matter if you're poor, broke, unity of family, and the Good Times is really about the people, right? It really about your family being the most important aspect. Like whether you're poor or rich, because the show like other families, there's a lot of rich people that aren't really close. There's a lot of rich people that don't have any good times. This is my perspective. This isn't direct. This is what good times means and stuff. My interpretation Good Times, the show is through all the struggle and all that shit, is that the family is what makes you feel the most in the good times type of thing. That even when the layout where they live, the apartment and everything, all the kids and people coming in and out, and the things they go through, the real life shit, is that through all the quote unquote not good times, the ending always ends in a good time. Because at the end of the day, going through struggle with the ones that you truly love, you build that foundation of love, matters a whole lot more than having all the foundation, have all the optics, the house, and all that good stuff, security, but you don't have the foundation of what matters. So, it's my interpretation. But yeah. Shit, there was something specific I had in mind. The title of this podcast will definitely be "Guided Me Took a Viagra in Ibiza." Just hate to be a nuisance. Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry, I know there's a little bit of gap right now, but I'm trying to fix something. Oh yeah, okay. Jesus, this may be the longest fucking gap I've taken in between topics before. I'm not alright, by the way, for people that aren't watching, I wrote something down that I wanted to talk about, but I'm having a fucking hard time finding it in my notes. Jesus, this is really hard This is really hard. Okay, whatever. I don't know what I had in there, but fuck it. Okay. Anyways, yeah, let's get to the sponsor today. Sponsor today is Taco Bell. Woo! Moving up in the ranks of sponsors. One day these sponsors are going to sue me when they realize I'm advertising their product without their consent. But yeah, Taco Bell. Even though, by the way, before I read this ad, bring back the fucking volcano burrito. I don't know what happened. They used to have the volcano box and burrito. One of the most underrated items in fast food history. Just saying. But yeah, Taco Bell. Sounds like the Chihuahua thing with the voice. Sounds like probably like something you get appropriation. Because whatever. But yeah, Taco Bell. Come in today and try our new chicken crispy tacos. Wow. Yeah, because that's what we need. Just, more fried chicken at Taco Bell. But yeah, Taco Bell. Come try our new crispy chicken tacos today with avocado ranch or chipotle. We always have our feature boxes in place as of right now with the crispy chicken tacos. We always have our typical cravings deal. We also have other combos. Why not try our quesadilla combo where you get a quesadilla, 20-ounce drink, and a crunchy taco for an overpriced amount. I'm terrible at endorsing this shit. But yeah, Taco Bell. Check your hours specifically for your local location. Go on the website. It's not that hard. You can find out the hours. But if you're like certain locations that ignore you in the drive-thru for the last 40 minutes of their operation, then call us and we will not do absolutely anything about it. But yeah, that's what we get paid for. But yeah, Taco Bell. Go by and enjoy it today, and go on the website and ring the bell. It's an inside joke. Inside. Now, back to the show. Editing skills. Yes. But yeah. So, one thing I've been kind of thinking about is I want views. I'm going to be straight up about it. I don't want views for why most people want views. I want views to build a progression, right? And I think I'm not a YouTuber. I would say I'll more post my podcast on YouTube just for kind of maybe extra potential exposure. But I realize, with that, it's going to come. I never did this expecting thousands of views off the jump, but I did expect to have a more consistent fan base by now. Whether that means having 80 consistent listeners in episodes, right? And now it's literally it's been the single digit for a long time, and I didn't care for it a long time, but it's like, at some point, it's like, all right, like, there's something like, come on. Like, there are videos that accidentally get tens of thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views without trying. I understand with the hour-long shit, it's a little different. It's a singular solo pod. I get it. But it's like, damn, I gotta be honest, like, is this what they mean when they say it's harder than ever to break into this field? Because there is just too much out there. There's too much shit. There's too many podcasts. There's too many people doing it. There's too many people if you're like a quote unquote no name, and you're literally a podcaster first, and that's what you are breaking into a field as. It is hard to break into this where you're investing in people to listen to you when they don't know you. So I try to be open and transparent, and I try to be consistently posting and stuff, and I do want to see progression. I'll be straight up honest. But you know what? I want to improve. I read, I was watching videos, and someone broke down, I was listening to a Lex Fridman podcast, and I forgot what, I happened to come across a clip, and I was trying to figure some shit out, and it was a random guest he had, like, maybe months ago, and, it's about the YouTube algorithm and shit like that, and I used to think that, the hashtags, the descriptions, if you make the descriptions more specific and all that shit, you try to be as diverse in the descriptions and crazy shit, whatever. And I realized, like, from what he was saying, that the title is literally like 90% of whether your video will get any clicks. Now, that sounds like common sense to say, well, no shit, Clint. But I wouldn't say I've tried to be too creative with the title. I've tried to dumb it down a little bit. But I've tried to go the Tuesdays with Stories model, where I put like a 2 or 3 word thing, a phrase, or I would just direct a 2 or 3 word thing that I said in the show, and hopefully that would attract to the style of what you're getting into. And what I realize now is that it's more about including keywords that people always search for. And I think you could figure out what word that may be, or what couple words, by the title of the video. What is some people always seek guidance for? And I think YouTube has turned into a let me seek, informational entertainment shit. Obviously, that will always be here. But I do think it is a place where a lot of people seek people who are going through things. I know there was this craze, and it's still a thing, where if you make a video, I'm 30, I'm like 28 years old, I'm 28 and I'm lost, or I'm 32 and I'm depressed, I'm this and that. Like, people will click on video because I think a lot of people in these days, like more people than not, kind of feel all those things. There's age milestones that you think by this you should be feeling better about yourself. You should this and that, whatever. And everyone has their. I'm not into clicking those type of videos because I'm just not that type of guy personally. I'm not trying to make anyone feel the type of way you are, because I'm all about relating to things. And I don't. And I think it's YouTube, for better or worse, it's kind of becoming or really, I guess you could say social media in general. It's really becoming a let me seek guidance. We're always seeking a sense of leadership. We're always seeking guidance. We're always seeking, quote unquote, self-improvement, which is a dangerous thing to get into. I wouldn't say it's a dangerous thing to seek outright all the time or even consistently. I don't care if you're going through the dumps. I don't care if you're flying high in life. I think anytime you try to seek, when it comes to spirituality or religion or guidance of this is how you get girls, this is how you make a man work for you. I think a lot of that shit, especially when you get these self-help gurus who aren't really self-help because they technically need you to watch their videos. They technically need you to fund their lifestyle to quote-unquote be rich. That's not really self-help to me, which that's why when anyone says self-help, by default, technically none of us are self-help because you don't have any money unless people pay for your shit. So by default, no one's technically self-help. But I understand building yourself up, you making your life and shit. Like self-help in terms of you help yourself as much as you can. Cool. I'm all for that. But, I just get really turned off by a lot of this shit personally. I think it's good to seek betterment in yourself. I think it's good. I also think things like the words healing and finding yourself can be a very darker, deeper excuse to justify a lot of BS. And it could be used as deflection of actually fucking doing what you quote unquote need to do to get past or better a situation. I use Charlamagne the God. I don't know if I've talked about it before, but one of the annoying things is when you hear him on his Breakfast Club thing. They do like a Breakfast Club rumor report thing, and basically Angela Yee tells a situation with the story, and then Envy will chime in, Charlamagne will put, and if it's like something that's about a hurtful situation or someone this and that, it's always, all I want to do is send healing and affection to hope both of them get the help they need and healing. And it's like, man, like, and I think healing's like fine. You want to throw that in there, but there's got to be more than just, hey, I'm just going to pray for you and heal. I guess that's why like religion can turn me off in a lot of ways, because it seems more of, we're not actually going to attack the problem. And we are just going to kind of throw these roundabout generic things that don't directly solve your issue. Your praying and healing does nothing for someone that is laying on the street when it's 26 fucking degrees out and they have no one there to consult them. Your praying and healing does absolutely fucking nothing. And I'm not saying it's your responsibility to even send that praying and healing to begin with. I'm not saying it's your responsibility to make someone who's homeless or someone down in their life and shit to fucking get them out of their situation. That's not anyone's responsibility, really. Although it would be great if we all helped each other and shit. Look, man, let's be realistic about it. But it can get very just kind of annoying. Probably as annoying as this fucking podcast, as the viewer or listener would say. I'm just very turned off, and and in my head as I'm saying, I'm not proud saying this. I'm just really turned off about people making 28-minute videos about why they're depressed. And it's not that I don't feel for them. It's not that I wouldn't sit with them and to hear them talk. I think personal accounts, like hearing someone, if someone really that depressed, they should find people to connect with and talk about it personally. Like go to group therapy, go to a group situation where you talk about it. There's something about putting something like that out into the YouTube or putting that out in the world, hoping for hundreds of thousands and millions of people to see your video and kind of look, if you capitalize on your pain, I'm all for it. I'm just not in the business of people capitalizing on other people's pain. But if it's your pain and you get views, you make money and shit, hey, by all means, do what you gotta do. But I don't see how that ends well for you personally. But hey, as they say, live your best life, right? But I just wouldn't want to put this impression out there that I'm just this depressed, sad, lonely person. Right? Like, I wouldn't want to put that out there abruptly. I think there's ways you can maybe align that into humor or something, but it cannot be like, I don't want someone when they think of me be like, oh, that's that guy who made that video of I'm 28 and I'm lonely and no one likes me and I'm just alone in this world. It's like, yeah, you know what? And you're going to be alone for a few years more when you make that video, if you truly delve in that mindset personally. And I'm all for people being prosperous and I'm all for people being happier. But it just kind of seems like it seems very annoying. That's a really shitty thing for you to say, Clint. Because I just, you're putting that out because you want strangers to reach out to you. Instead of reaching out to people who are near and dear and close to your life and actually talk and discuss with them about it. That seems more like, are you really? Because when you're sad, you don't want millions of people to know it. You just want some type of personal guidance. You want some type of personal explanation if you're struggling for why you're feeling that way. But I don't know. I'm an asshole, I guess. But yeah. Let's see. Shit. I'm really fucking bothered. There's something fucking. I don't know. I'll remember it next episode. But yeah. All right, guys. Oh, by the way, congratulations to the Rams. Happy for Stafford. Jared Goff is somewhere punching the air right now. Baker Mayfield in the first quarter and a half before Odell got hurt was punching the air right now. Like, shit. Well, really, Cleveland fans. Baker Mayfield kind of fucked that shit up. But yeah. But hopefully Odell gets well. Odell gets well. And by the way, I also found out Odell wore $200,000 cleats, the most expensive cleats in the history of probably any game, but Super Bowl especially. And I guess the cleats did not return on his investment. They failed him. I'm sorry. If I'm wearing $200,000 cleats, they should be injury proof. But hopefully he gets well. But yeah. All right, guys. That is episode 111 of the Off and Beat podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment, review. And don't forget to suck some titties. And fuck the apartment complex for the water shit. It's really fucking annoying. It's cool though. Fuck me, right? Oh, Jesus, Clint. If you're gonna waste your time, eat your booty with me.